I'm going to be recording this town hall just so that those who couldn't make it tonight are able to watch it. I will upload it to the Waltz YouTube channel after we're done. But otherwise, we can get started. So I know that some people might be your first town hall, and some people might be your repeated town halls. But this, unironically, is our 10th biannual town hall, which I was looking back thinking that's kind of creepy and weird and ironic that our 10-year anniversary and this is our 10th town hall. So kind of cool. So yes, thank you guys for coming. I'm going to tie up your time for about 90 minutes. We have a few things that I want to cover tonight. So the purpose of these town halls is, one, it brings our community together, and you're able to just kind of see the community, hear about how the FC is doing, and just kind of have an open discussion about things. We like to talk about any changes that are coming up. Coat, can you mute your mic, please? Hang on a second, I'm going to server mute. Okay, good. Perfect. Yeah, so it's just a way for us to bring the community together, go over upcoming stuff, kind of talk about how we've done the last 6 months, kind of just a recap of the community as a whole. But because this is the pre-expansion town hall, we are going to talk a lot about going into the expansion, setting expectations, and setting up, especially the new players, for success going into some people their first expansion, which is kind of exciting. So I've been playing this game since 2013. I literally started playing the day Realm Reborn launched. Unfortunately, I did not get the Kate Sith minion because I didn't know this game existed prior to me playing it. So, yeah, so as every town hall, I would like to open up the floor to kind of see if anybody has any recognition they want to share about another FC member, or maybe an FC leader towards an FC member, or anybody who saw somebody go above and beyond recently and just wants to call them out for doing, such a great job.
I would like to thank that Lala over there, Ulala Rebel. He's the one who actually got me in the FC 4 years ago. He was doing a map. We were doing maps, and I just left my FC I joined the game with. And he was like, yeah, come join us. And I've been here ever since. So thank you. It's been a great 4 years.
Nice. Anybody else want to share anything?
I do.
Perfect.
Today, winter got me through Valdesia Arsenal, and I got my apple now.
Another marble. Nice job. All right, I want to thank everybody who contributed to last night's party, whether you ran a booth, whether you helped organize, specifically Noriko, who is usually the head of all the parties lately, and that amazing 10-year anniversary video that was created that was shown during the party made me quite emotional. So thank you, Noriko, and thank you everybody who contributed. Last night was a blast. If you're not comfortable talking, like in Discord, you can type your recognition and say or shout or whatever, and I'll read it out if you're not comfortable talking. Jack?
Thank somebody.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, it's because we've been kind of together since playing the game. Like, we were on the same kind of a spot when I joined, and that's Santhia. She has stepped up her game so much to the point that now she's helping everybody, all new players, everybody who wants to like run raids, trials, all that stuff. Santhia has become such an amazing person in the FC in terms of helping people. So. And I remember, and I'm saying that because I remember that she and I was like, oh, we're leveling these jobs because we're halfway through MSQ and stuff like that. And it's amazing. It's amazing to be part of and see a bunch of people growing in the game. And it's like, well, having those kind of memories and stories.
I like that. Yep. It's hard for me to put into words sometimes when I explain to my friends in real life who don't play video games. like how cool this community is. And I'm not saying that because I'm biased as the FC leader, but like this FC is full of really incredible people. And like as we get like closer and as time goes on, I feel like our bonds just get stronger, especially people who have been here for a very long time. Like I just think that we all know that it's home now. And I thought about like what would it be like if, you know, I started a new character right now as a non-Astari. How would I feel in this game? And I don't think I could play this game anymore without this FC.
Because because for example, I have another example. It's not so long ago you were yelling at Icar and correcting Icar, and I know it's part of the game and the mechanic, like having fun. And now Icar, it's part of the Waltz leadership. It's like wow.
Punch says, I'll add mine in. I believe he isn't here at the moment, but I'd like to call out Jet Groovy, who aided me in getting back into the FC. Getting back has caused me some anxiety, not in the part of Waltz, but from my own issues, and I appreciate his assistance in getting me back into the community and through the troubles I have. Oh, that's very sweet. Anybody else want to add anything?
Well, I will toss it right back at Adios. So I want to bring up a story of when I brought someone in to the FC who was a bit worried that, you know, asked pretty much, is it okay if I join if English isn't my first language? Of course I said, that's completely fine. I found out that they were from Mexico, and I said to Adios, I just messaged him out of the blue and I said, would you be willing to speak with someone who's a bit nervous coming in to the FC? No, and they believed that they didn't speak English the best. And Audio stepped right up and came in and chatted with them and made them feel completely at home. And now that person is in chat helping other people out when they're asking. So sometimes all it takes is one person.
Nah.
I'm going to...
I love Waltz.
Go ahead, Airless.
No, sorry, just saying that. I love Waltz. That's it.
I'm going to just read out some of the ones that are in chat right now. So Etney says, thank you to all the greeters. Indigo also says that they brought this up during the leadership meeting, but thank you also to all the greeters, people who say hello, people log in. I don't think people know just how much of an impact a small hello can be. So even if like we have our people who are always like around for greeting, but then if they're not online, I always see other people that are greeting. Athen, can you mute your mic? I'm just gonna ask that everybody mutes their mic right now unless they're speaking, just so that it's no noise. Thank you so much. Yeah. So as I was saying, I don't think. Yeah. So I see even when people who are regular quote greeters log in or are not online, I do see other people stepping up as well. So we did have our leadership meeting last week, which we kind of put together the agenda for tonight. So I'm just going to call out some recognitions from the leadership team from last week that I had noted down, or that our note taker put down. So the first one is, she's not here right now, but a huge thank you to Astrid. You guys probably have noticed the massive Discord changes in the last couple of weeks. But Astrid has gone above and beyond as far as even creating a test Waltz server to test everything in before we rolled it out into ours. In addition to just overall organizational improvements, if you guys haven't noticed the massive resource section now at the bottom, which is full of like so many resources. Especially if you're new to the game, leveling resources, tips and tricks on different fights. There's Department of Land and Hand stuff, job guides, savage raiding guides, hunt guides, deep dungeon guides. So there's absolutely a ton of resources that were added, and all that hard work was put in by Astrid, kind of in the background. Also was called out last week at our meeting was Nori. So Nori put a lot of work. Nori puts a lot of work all the time into our housing designs, as well as in for the parties, which I kind of mentioned before. We had Winter was called out for the support and encouragement with doing stuff like BA, DRS, stuff like that. Venny, same thing, has been a really good support for other members as well. Really stepped up, especially since becoming an FC leader. We had Mint called out as well for their constant support and helping other FC members. We also have, we had Arios, you were called out in our leadership meeting as well, but Xanthia kind of already touched on that, so I'm not going to repeat it again. And then, of course, everybody for their donations for all of our giveaways that we always have, and just for being overall great contributors to the FC. Just going to kind of back up through chat here and see if there's any additional stuff. So Zach says thank you to me. Walked him through his very first high-end trial, provided with gear to help. Very patient and thorough. You're welcome, buddy. More stuff about the greeters. Felix says, want to thank every member of the community. Everyone is so kind and helpful, and wants to shout out to our new amps. They've really stepping up and taking charge. It's absolutely true. L'Oreal says, I want to say thank you to Starry for telling me about this FC. I still remember you responding on the Facebook group. I have greatly enjoyed this FC and everyone. Normally in games, I'm very shy about groups, so yeah, it's been great. Yep. I used to post on the Facebook group, and I think I found a couple of really great people on the Facebook group as well. All right, anybody else want to add anything?
Hi, this is Kellen. May I add something?
Of course you can.
Excellent. So, I'll try not to ramble on too long, but I know I mostly see all of you on the weekends. I'm kind of like the strange uncle you see on weekends. But I would like to say thank you to everyone for always being welcoming, friendly, social, etc. Because Koya and I have been living overseas away from the US for almost 12 years now. So I feel like the Waltz community helps me at least stay grounded back to some kind of community back home. So just wanted to say thank you very much.
Perfect. And Nona Nano says, thank you for a warm welcome back to the FC. It's been great rejoining this wonderful community. All right.
Hey, this is Grim.
Hi, Grim.
So I'll give a shout out to, I don't believe they're here right now, maybe not even in the FC at the moment, but the person who introduced myself and Kara to Waltz, I believe, was Washu. All I can really remember is just having them be like one of the first people that we met when we returned to the game in like early 2019, and I don't remember the circumstances, but it was just a matter of striking up a conversation, and they had given us some gil and like some free little minions or something, just out of the kindness of their heart. I don't think there was any there wasn't any sort of transaction or anything involved. And then we took notice of like, hey, the FC you're in sounds cool. Like, are you accepting members? And like, yeah, we're always looking for good people. So it was just after that we decided to join up, and yeah, we've just been here ever since. It's been it's been like 5 years at least. That's crazy to think about.
Oh, Washu. I'm sure he'll be back for Dawn Trail. I miss that guy. Couple other people that were called out last week's meeting that I missed. Vincenzo, I hope that's how I say your name. Some people say Vic, but Vincenzo or Vic. Constantly making sure stuff is in the FC chest and helping people when they ask. It's not unnoticed, my friend, don't worry. Same with Oka. If Oka's here, you were also called out last week at the meeting, just for being overall positive, always welcoming people when they join the FC, giving them hugs in the yard. Like, it's people that are noticing just that overall positive attitude. Okay, anybody else?
Yeah, I want to thank both Santia and Diana. I'm gonna keep it short, but basically, I've been dealing with cancer for almost a year now, and I just found out I'm gonna have to go through treatment again. and I told both Santi and Benilian like in different situations about this, especially because I read about the policy changes due to Dawn Trail with the AFKing and such. And obviously, I wasn't able to. I mean, I'm not able to pay for the game because treatment is very expensive. I'm gonna need a surgery and other stuff. And I told both of them in different instances, and I'm just asking so I wouldn't be removed from the EFC or kind of or like see what was gonna happen, right? If I was AFK, and they both offered to give me some game time. And I mean, I really love this game, and it means a lot to me to be able to, just join a little bit and just chill and I'm sorry, just kind of stress out from this, everything that's happening. It really means a lot. So, thank you a lot for it. Thank you.
That's very sweet of them, and we're wishing you the best on that journey. Also, just want to make sure you know too, Mina, that exceptions can be made to any of the stuff. So even if there was a period of time where you were going to be AFK, since you did tell Xanthia and Venny, we wouldn't have kicked you. Just so you know that we got your back, even if you need a little bit extra time, but I'm happy to hear that you have some game time to continue, so.
All right, thank you.
I'm glad that you could stay with us, and thank you. That was really kind of
Thank you so
say.
much.
Lumina says in Say chat here, not exactly recognition per se, but without Yami, Indy, and Etni, have been mostly the entire reason I'm happy I chose this FC 3 years ago. Even though you have bounced that around a little bit, everyone here, the friends I've made in leadership, are a big reason why my heart tends to come back like a cat that always comes back. When you guys make fun of me for leaving, coming back, but yeah, these three of you are always why I come back. Oh, Moon. I'm always going to know you as Moon. Lumina is an imposter. But we love you too, buddy. Alright, any last recognition before we move on? Alright, let's if you do want to add anything, feel free to say it in Say chat. I will continue to read it as we move through the town hall, but it's a lot of recognition that came out, and it just makes me very proud as an FC leader. I was watching Nori's video last night. This is kind of going on to the next topic about the next agenda topic, which is just the FC's mission and values. And I know I go through this story at every town hall, but it didn't really hit home until I watched Nori's video last night, and I actually became a sobbing mess, because like when I started this FC back in 2014, I never ever thought it would become what it is today. And like it just started with like me and Kellen and Juju. You probably just saw Juju standing beside me here a little while ago, but like it started with a couple of some of our friends, like Eulala sitting back there on the couch too. It was just like 4 or 5 of us decided to start this FC, and look what it is today. And then when I was watching Nori's video, I was like, oh my god, 10 years, man. Like, June 5th was our 10... Exactly, I remember opening Waltz on Gilgamesh June 5th of 2014. And thinking now it's June 5th, 2024. And all the stuff that we've gone through as an FC, and how I feel like we are now strong now, more strong now than we've ever been in the past. We've had some times where there's been like tension and some drama here and there, but overall, I think we just always come out on top as such a strong community. And Winters shared something at our meeting that like it just keeps adding to just the piece of heart that we have in this FC, and that's like we may be like one of the largest FCs on the server, but well, Winter, why don't you share it? What did you say how the server looks at us? Why don't you share that? Because you said that because both Lumina and Winter are very much involved in like server-wide stuff all the time, and they have connections with other FCs. So I'd like you to share what you told us last week at the meeting.
Yeah, Waltz goes a lot past like just like our little neck of the woods. Like we're very, very well known throughout the entire server. Like when people think of Waltz, they're really like we are really, really respected free company. Like our name is like pretty much like entwined with like good. Like everyone knows Waltz is like a really family friendly, like really nice, open to everybody, like free company. We're very liked and respected on the server.
Yeah, that's like you think about outward looking in, and to hear that perspective from people outside of the FC is like it's kind of incredible when you think about it. And like we talk about the FC's mission and values, how like I started this FC because I wanted an FC that wasn't either of the two FCs that I joined when I first played this game. So my first FC was an LGBTQ plus FC. It was an 18 plus FC, and the chat was always full of like vulgar stuff, and like it was very much the anti-family friendliness. And it's like I don't want to log into a game and hear people talk about their sex lives, you know, in chat. Like if that's what you're into, that's fine. And then the second FC that I joined was actually another adult FC, but it was just people fighting all the time. And I thought to myself, like, I'm just going to play the game solo. And so I left both of those FCs, and it wasn't until like a few weeks later that Juju said, why don't you start your own? And so here we are. And so 10 years later, having other FCs look at us with our name synonymous with the term good is huge. And I know that we all log in, we do our things, but at the end of the day, it is a community, and I know deep down everybody supports each other. And so yes, just want to say my big recognition is to all of you guys and everybody that's in this FC. I'm trying to get through this without getting emotional again, but just want you all to know that even though you're a name on the screen to lots of people, you're not a name on the screen to me. And even when people leave and come back, I always remember who they are. And people who have left and come back will know that that's true. So thank you for making this literally the best FC in the game, in my opinion. So I just think you all should clap for yourselves. Let me see if anybody else said anything. Distract myself. Okay, Ikar said, thank you to all the leadership team for believing in me enough to be in the position I'm in now. I'll always be grateful. Zach said, shout out to Lumi, single-handedly keeps my seals rolling with all the hunt notifications. Great. Kellen says, people come and some people go, but the community's always growing. Aria says, we keep getting stronger. And Kellen says, we do in-house and server events. It's good to be seen. Aria says, Waltz doesn't feel like another game guild like other MMOs. It's a big space to be ourselves while enjoying a great game. Yep. Perfect. Great. So I think it's good to now we can move on to the next part of the agenda. So again, thank you all. Reflecting on Waltz's tenets of compassion, helpfulness, helping new players, and keeping a positive attitude. So this is just a complete reflection of what I just mentioned about how we are an FC because of the people that are in it. I think we all share compassion, we all share helpfulness, and I see every day everybody reaching out to help new players, and it's very rare that I see negative attitudes happening, and I just think that just means that we're all here for the same thing, to have a good time. So we wanted to just kind of bring up the inactivity policy in this section of the agenda, just because I know we made some recent changes to it. We tightened it a little bit. We didn't want to jump straight into the post-Endwalker guidelines that we had. So post-Endwalker, the inactivity guideline was pulled back to 7 days. Right now, we didn't feel like that was necessary at this time, but it might be something that we're going to visit depending on how we look when Dawn Trail launches. But right now, we're just going to stick where we're at right now. So just to kind of remind everybody of the inactivity policy. So we use the ranks in our FC just to measure overall activity and health of the free company. When you join the FC for the first time, you get the demi rank. Or if you go inactive for more than 7 days, you get the demi rank. You just get changed to that rank. It does not have any implications at all. It's just a way for us to see who's what percentage of our FC is online, what percentage of our FC is on a break, etc. The media rank is basically just you're an active member who is online regularly. Comet rank is our free company gardener and people who have housing privileges, like our designers basically. And then of course we know that the FC leaders are Ultima, which is me, Flare, and Amps. We've never ever looked at our FC as having ranks. It's either FC leader or FC member. There's nothing in between, because we want to treat everybody the same way. We want everybody to feel the same way when they're here, and I think that just adds to the overall feel of our community. So right now, the way that our inactivity policy is the inactivity rank is level 20, meaning if you are offline for 20 days or more, and you have not notified an FC leader that you're coming back, you will likely get removed from the FC. And then if you do tell an FC leader that you're coming back, they'll give you the sleep rank, which means that for 50 days, your place will be held in the FC. As I did mention a little while ago, we can make exceptions. So if there is something serious happening in your life, please bring it up to one of the officers, and we will let the rest of the team know that there's an exception, and we will not remove you from the FC. When Dawn Trail launches, it's very, very likely that we are going to hit cap pretty quickly, because a lot of people are going to be coming back, looking for invites back to Waltz. During Endwalker, we had a waiting list that lasted for about a month. If you are a former member, or you are if you are a former member that was removed, all you have to do is let an FC leader know that you're back, and we'll invite you back to the game. However, if there is a waiting list, you will need to reapply on the website to be put into the waiting list, and then you will have priority over everybody else. So if a new person joins, puts an application in, and a former FC member puts an application in, the former FC member will get priority. If you are a referral of a friend, if you are a referral, it will be treated the same as if you are a former FC member. Just have your friend fill out the application, let them put in the spot where "How did you hear about Waltz?" They put your name. They will also get priority over regular new applications. So this is only in the event that we have a waiting list, which is very likely once Dawn Trail hits. I know already offhand at least 40 people that are coming back, and we're currently sitting at 470 members. And so that means that we'll be pretty much at cap. Is there any questions about the inactivity policy? Okay, perfect. So it's pretty straightforward. We're trying to be fair for everybody. That's why we give 50 days. All we ask is that if you are going to take a break, that you let us know. We will switch you over to the sleep rank, giving you that 50-day grace period. Even if we tighten the step 2 part of our policy and we go back to the 7 days, the 50-day for sleep will not change. It is going to stick there. It's only the not informing an FC leader rank, that's the quote death rank, that's gonna be tightened up. All right, so moving on, we just wanted to kind of touch on setting expectations for Dawn Trail and the content that is coming in Dawn Trail. So we have a lot of new players that have recently joined our FC who might be interested in things like raiding, or might be interested in some side content and all that jazz. We have a lot of raiders in Waltz. We have a lot of people interested in raiding, a lot of people who will help answer questions for you about raiding. One thing I want to say is that as much as we want to invest our time helping everybody in the raid community, a lot of the raiders are going to be tied up in their own raid groups when the raid tier does drop at the end of July. Be patient if you have questions. If you are looking to join a static, though, please come to my raiding class next Saturday. I will teach you how to find or make your own static. We have a ton of resources. I want to make sure you guys are set up for success when it comes to that. One thing that's always been true is that Waltz has always been full of raiders, but never an abundance of raid leaders. So if you are interested in raid leading, it's going to be very easy for you to pull a group together. I know she is not here, but she was able to pull a group together. Majority were all FC mates, because they were all that she had to do was just pick up that mantle of being the FC or the raid leader and put the group together. We have a resource that Winter is going to link. We have an in-house raid spreadsheet that shows everybody who's interested in raiding, what roles they play. And then if you do see anybody on that spreadsheet that you might want to raid with, reach out to them. Start building up your group. We are mostly a casual FC with a lot of different areas that people like to specialize in. If you are thinking that you're going to be able to build a raid group out of Waltz, please use that roster. And then the other resources that I'll show you in my raiding class next week if you want to come. But we are not really a raiding FC, so to speak. It's just know that we are full of raiders who are willing to help you out. Is there any other FC leaders that want to add anything to this? Did I miss anything? No, I don't think so. Okay. All right, so the next thing to touch on too is our charter. So every time we have a leadership meeting, we kind of review our charter to see if there's any changes that are needed. But we think that it's in a really good place. If you guys have feedback on our FC charter, please submit it to me or any other officer so we can discuss it. But we think that we're in a really, really good place as far as like what our expectations are of our members and just to make this that safe space for everybody. But back to the setting up people with expectations on Dawn Trail. So the next topic is going to be a hefty one, and that is spoilers. And so, how many people is it your first expansion when it's current? You can say it in say chat or talk out loud. It's fine. No, it's your first one. Okay. Eowyn, Xanthia, Athen.
It's my first expansion.
Perfect. Yeah, so this is great. Ha ha ha, me too. It's all the food that I eat, Kellen. I got that joke. Okay, so we want to do a review of our spoiler policy because if there's going to ever be a time where our FC feels tense, it is during the first few weeks of an expansion launch. And most of this is because of spoilers and the expectations around spoilers. And so that's why we have an entire section devoted in our town hall tonight to talk about spoilers and go through various examples of what you can expect. And then we're going to talk about some ways that you can still talk about the things that you're seeing throughout the story and talk to other people who have seen it as well and not get spoiled yourself. So we're going to go through all of that. So the first thing I want to do is kind of review our spoiler policy at the exactly what it is. When we first launched Endwalker, we had a blanket spoiler policy that left room for a little bit of interpretation. And so with our current spoiler policy, we've basically made it so that there is no room for interpretation. And we'll set the expectations on what FC leaders will get involved with and what they won't. So we all love new content. At least I play this game, not just for Waltz, but majority for the story. It's always been about the story for me. And I like to pace through new stuff a little bit slower, I think, than people who want to get through it quickly. And I want to appreciate the stories. But I also want to talk to people about what I'm seeing who are actually at the same spot as me. So this is where things get a little bit dicey. So we want everybody in the FC to provide each other with the courtesy of not having new content spoiled. And so we're going to tell you how we define a spoiler today, and you guys can share your thoughts on it. And if there's anything that you don't understand about this spoiler policy, now's a great time to kind of voice those thoughts. So what we as an FC define a spoiler as is anything that has not yet been shown to the public or released by Square Enix themselves. And some examples of that would obviously be story content, including side quests, new fight mechanics, dungeon boss names or dungeon names themselves, names of trials or trial bosses, and of course, quest or NPC names could also be spoilery, because Square will never really announce those things. If you look at their patch notes, a lot of new quests will have question marks, because they also don't want to spoil the players. But this doesn't mean that we want people to just completely go silent. We also want people to be able to ask for help. Like when I get to the first dungeon in Dawn Trail, chances are I'm going to be asking, hey, does anybody want to do this dungeon with me? So all that we're asking is that instead of using the dungeon names, try using the level of the duty instead. Now, at our leadership meeting, we talked about this and how great everybody in the FC has been. We've seen a lot of people respecting dungeon names and trial names. We only had a couple of slip-ups in the last couple of months. But instead of using the name of the duty or trial or dungeon, just say something like, anyone like to do the level 71 dungeon with me, or the first dungeon, instead of using the dungeon name. So let's just use the 61 dungeon, Je suis, or the Violet Tides or whatever. Instead of saying the name of the dungeon, just say level 61 dungeon. Or instead of saying, does anybody want to come with me for Innocence, you would say, anybody want to queue for the level 79 trial with me, basically. Basically, like Grim said, who wants to run the level 93 trial? Can someone help me clear this 93 dungeon? These are all great examples of the things that we want. Even still, like Punch even added to that, the first, third, or fifth, whatever makes it more comfortable for you. But just don't use the name of the content. Just use either the first or... Oh, thanks, Judah. The first, second, third, fourth trial, or whatever. People who are at the same level of the questing as you are going to know what you're talking about, and they'll volunteer to help. It's okay if you are asking with like the first, second, third, or just the level of the dungeon is also fine, but just don't say the name. That's all that we're asking for as well. So the part that we added a little bit more clarity to with Endwalker is context versus no context spoilers. So context versus no context spoilers, and this kind of will give you guys clarity on how FC leaders are going to be acting when it comes to monitoring spoilers. So we do recognize that there are mistakes that can happen, and occasional spoilers might be mentioned in FC chat or Discord or whatever. If a simple spoiler is mentioned with no context, we are not going to coach or send a DM to that person saying, hey, no spoilers. We're not going to be like that. But so we're going to overlook no context spoilers. As you guys know, there's some parts in the story where you have to say a name in Say Chat, or you have to say somebody's like an activity in Say Chat. If you say that accidentally in FC Chat, no one's going to know what the heck you're talking about, and that is what we would consider a no context spoiler. Context spoiler would be like if somebody said, "Oh, hey, what was that?" and then you were to go into an in-depth explanation of why you said that name in FC Chat. That would be a context spoiler. So when it comes to the overall look at how we say spoiler, or how we define a spoiler, it falls down into two rules. Is it a no context or a context spoiler? And the second one is, has this information publicly been released by Square Enix? So I'll give you a recent example. All of the data that has been coming out from the media tour, from streamers, Twitch people, that stuff has not been publicly released by Square. So according to our spoiler policy, that would be a spoiler for somebody to talk about in FC chat or in Discord. So that's why in our Discord, we actually have a section specifically for upcoming content where people can freely speak about those things. However, Pictomancer and Viper have been revealed as the new jobs for Dawn Trail, and so saying those or talking about them is not considered a spoiler. In the live letter, Yoshi P actually went into in-depth demonstrations of some of the skills. Therefore, it has been publicly released by Square and no longer falls in the spoiler category. So if you, as an FC person, are looking at FC chat and you see somebody talking about Pictomancer's rotation, just know that has been publicly released by Square, and Waltz officers won't be, sending that person a DM to stop talking about Pictomancer. As an example, when I'm talking about Media Tour, there are some people who have been sharing videos of tool tips for all new job changes, etc. That stuff is typically publicly released by Square during the patch notes. which will be coming out when the servers go down. We're going to get the preliminary patch notes about the week before, and then we're going to get the full release usually when the servers are down. After that, it's publicly released because that's when they release all the changes to jobs and there. Now, the other thing too is we don't want to go down a slippery slope by saying that's a spoiler, that's not a spoiler. Just remember, it falls into two different categories. Is it a context or a no context spoiler? And then, is it publicly released by Square, yes or no? We will not jump on anybody if they start talking about the tooltips that are from the media tour, because in a way, the media tour, Square did bless the release of that information. However, if you're looking at it from a black and white perspective, technically it was not released by Square themselves, so according to our policy, it would be a spoiler. But just, yeah, hopefully that gives some clarity. One other thing I did want to say, too, about general spoilers is, how can I put this? Member emotions is probably the best way that I can describe this. So, we all get really, really, really excited about new stuff. It is okay for you to say in chat, oh my god, guys, that, dungeon was amazing. It is okay for you to say stuff like that. As long as you're not going into detail about what made that dungeon amazing, feel free to vent how excited you are. We want you to be free to do that stuff. Just know that leadership will not get involved unless it falls under the spoiler definition. We do not want to police emotions. Please don't expect that of us. We want everybody to enjoy this game. We don't want to censor anybody. We're just asking that everybody be courteous. So even if you are saying, oh my god, I just did the level X trial, it was absolutely amazing, that is okay technically. Just be courteous when you are talking about that stuff in FC chat. Some people might think that is a spoiler. There are varying levels of what people find a spoiler acceptable, or what people find to be an acceptable spoiler. Emotions are not something that we are going to get involved with, so please feel free to share your thoughts and how amazing something is. I know that I'm probably going to want to vent about stuff as well. And then the last point that I want is that we want you guys to leave all of the monitoring of the chat and the feedback to other people to come directly from us. Sometimes what happens, and we've noticed this with Endwalker, is that, especially in the first week when everybody's running on like 2 hours of sleep because everybody's playing for 20 hours. Well, it can't just be me that does that, right? Everybody's kind of really tired, and people can get cranky after a couple of days, and then somebody accidentally slips a spoiler, and then 10 FC mates jump on them. Oh my god, that's a spoiler, oh my god, that's a spoiler. Like, we don't want you guys to dogpile on other FC members. Just know that anytime we see a spoiler, we're going to privately message that person and talk about it privately. And then if it's more than one person involved, we are going to just do a blanket statement like, hey guys, just be mindful of spoilers, etc. We're going to get to that in just a second, Lumi. It's actually in the agenda. Yeah, so leave the feedback to the leadership team, to other members. Try not to dogpile on people if they slip up, because slip-ups will happen. It's brand new content. It's a full game's worth of content. Which also brings me to a good segue that what Lumina just asked and Say Chat is when it comes to spoilers. So relay macros for hunts. So we are asking that. Well, actually, we wanted to ask the FC what you guys think is a reasonable amount of time. So we don't want hunt shouts in FC chat or Discord. That at least if they say the name of the zone for 1 month is the minimum. Do you guys feel that that is enough time? Do you feel that that's a fair time? Because we talked about this as a leadership team last week, and we decided that 1 month seems like a good timeline for us to withhold the hunt sharing in chat. If you are at the end of the game and you do want to hunt, just join a hunt link shell. But as far as sharing it in FC chat, we don't want the zone names to be spoiled. If there's a way for you to link the coordinates, or at least say zone 5, zone 6, and then do the coordinates in the zone itself and shout, Yeah, so they would be a name out of context, Des, but when you pull up the coordinates, it can actually show you names of cities and stuff on the map, and you might accidentally pull up the map. Even though the map is all grayed out with clouds, it still shows names of stuff. So we're just asking that we do we for a month we withhold the shout chats and the coordinates being posted. Like Lumina, you guys, you hunt masters can still say like zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then once people port their, say, A rank or S rank in zone 6, and then put the coordinates in shout chat in the actual zone itself, that's probably going to be that's very much acceptable. It's just saying the zone name, or doing the coordinates, which also show the zone name, is what we're going to withhold for a month. Oh yeah, like Relis just mentioned there as well. Letting people know that a train is starting is probably more than helpful enough. Absolutely right. So Moon is accepting link shell invites to the hunt link shells. Please join one if you feel like you're going to get through the story in within that first month, and you'll be able to get into the hunt trains. Join a Discord or join a link shell right away. As you guys know who played previous expansions, some of the zones are major spoilers, and so we don't want the name of the zone to be spoiled. Like, we all know like things like Solution 9 are coming. We don't know what the heck what's in that zone. So these are why we're saying don't hold the map coordinates, at least in FC chat for a month. So it seems like you all think that a month is good. A month is okay. I see a couple people said a month sounds good, so.
Hey, Istari, it's Kellen. I have a question for you about spoilers.
Yes.
So, what should members do if they see something that looks like a spoiler? Obviously, we don't want people dogpiling, like you said, so what is the best course of action for everyone?
Just send a tell to one of the officers, whether it's an amp or a flare, and we will just let you know that we'll look into it. And if we do find that it falls under our spoiler policy, we will just reach out to that member that slipped up and just give them a soft reminder. When we launched Endwalker, or when Endwalker launched, when we were going through the spoiler policy, I think that the type of people that we have in our FC now versus when we launched Endwalker, I do not feel anybody is going to intentionally release a spoiler. So make sure that if you do see a spoiler that looks spoilery-ish to you, reach out to any officer to get clarity, and we'll let you know. Alor says... Yeah, so as we just talked about before, Alor, context versus no context spoiler. I think you missed that part because you just got here. Yeah, there's the context versus no context, so don't dogpile on people. Please just reach out to an officer. We just want to keep chat with people excited, people talking about general stuff. And then to add to this as well, one of the things that was brought up at our meeting was, sometimes people want to talk about spoilers, but our spoiler channel is basically a free-for-all, so you don't know who is talking about what. And so you might only want to talk about stuff from level 1 to level 91 to 92, and you don't want to see anything from beyond 92, and you're like, I can't join the spoiler channel because I'm going to see everything. Someone might have beat the game already, and then I'm going to be spoiled. What we actually came up with at the meeting was individual threads that are broken down by level. And so if you look under the FF14 spoiler release section now of our Discord, you will see Dawn Trail release, and there are threads for every 2 levels pretty much. So Dawn Trail intro zones level 90 to 91, 91 to 92. So what we mean by intro zones or the levels is the level of the MSQ. So you might be in the second zone, and you're going through level 93 MSQ. You could go into level 93 to level 94 and talk about what you're seeing and share your thoughts. That way we can keep alongside each other as we go through this, because there have been some oh shit moments where I'm just like, oh my god, I really need to talk to somebody about what I just saw, because I'm a completely like head spinning story. And and so you can talk about it openly in those channels. And then once, after about a month or two, we will condense them all down pretty much into one main channel again. But we thought this might be helpful. How do you guys feel about that? Do you think it's helpful?
Hey, Astari, Kellen here. I think that's a great idea and super helpful. Are you going to talk about joke/fake as well?
Yep, that's coming up next.
So, well, sorry, Colin. So practically, what you're saying is like if someone feels like that it might be a spoiler, should just DM some player amp you, but also trying like. I mean, I think it's implied that shouldn't like make a fuss out of it in chat or anything, like not trying to get the matter on their hands so it doesn't bring too much attention to the fact that it might be a slip of a spoiler.
But we also we don't want people to get dogpiled on, basically. That's basically the end of it. Is like if somebody accidentally slips up a spoiler, in Endwalker we saw like 10-15 people like, hey, that's a spoiler, and it was like this massive issue that happened. I think the best way to approach it now is if you feel like something is a spoiler, reach out to an officer. They will clarify with you, and then if it is a spoiler, they will either have already reached out to the person privately, or they will then reach out to the person, because we have 20 officers, around 20 officers that are going to be watching chat and basically in shifts, and so just so you guys, and it's not to police anything, it's just to make sure that everybody knows that like we're doing our best to protect the player experience. So yeah.
Sounds mostly like a tell, and if you can ignore, so it doesn't grow.
Now the
problem.
last thing I want to mention too, that kind of piggybacks off of what you just said, Arios, is that if you are expecting a truly blind experience with no spoilers, which you are perfectly like welcome to do, I highly recommend that you shut off all of your chats. Your shout chat especially, because other players are dicks. They will spoil stuff in shout chat, trust me. Turn off shout chat, turn off yell chat, and then if somebody does slip up an FC chat, it is okay for you to shut off your FC chat. Even do it before if you want. Like, don't, if you truly do want that blind experience, you are welcome to that. But you can turn off your chats.
It's a reminder that at some point we are humans. We're gonna make mistakes. At some point, our emotion is gonna betray us, even if we try as hard as possible to keep them shut. So there's ways to avoid this kind of situations without starting a war.
It's just people can slip up, and then also, as I mentioned before, people's tolerance for what is and is not a spoiler is also quite varied. So what I might think is not a spoiler, there could be 10 people that do. So rather than so that's all we're saying.
And like you said, there are people that are dicks, and they will be. For example, you can teleport to Limsa, and everybody's gonna start yelling and shouting about the entire game and how they beat it and how they're better than everyone because they already did this, that. They already know the story, whatever. Yeah.
And so, just if you have any questions about it, just reach out to an FC leader, and we will let you know what our thoughts are, and we'll address it if it's necessary. Now, the one last thing I want to mention too about Discord specifically is Relis and Astrid were working on a way to put some kind of bot management on certain spoiler words. So if there are big spoiler reveals, we're implementing a bot in our Discord that only in like the general channels and public channels, if these words are identified by the bot, it's going to spoiler tag them, and then you'll probably get a DM to say, hey, this was a spoiler, please don't post it in general chat. It is a bot, and it is our first time attempting to use something like this, so if it does mess up, Please don't get upset with us. We're just trying to help the rest of the FC and make sure that we're protecting everybody's experience. So it is a trained bot, meaning that the words that we put into the bot are the ones that will be addressed. So it's if there might be some spoiler words that we don't have them in there because we don't know what they are yet. But just know that is something that is going to be implemented as well, just to kind of put those spoiler tags out there. Unfortunately, we don't have such a thing for FC chat, but just know that sometimes it might get spoiler tagged as well. So then the last thing just to mention about spoilers before I ask any questions is fake spoilers. So we have had in the past where somebody was jokingly spoiling stuff that was fake, like, oh my god, Thancred dies. Like, don't do that, please. Especially in the first couple of weeks, because as I mentioned, tensions are going to be high as we're all progressing through this stuff together, and sometimes people are going to be tired from, like I said, long days of questing. I booked 10 days of vacation for this, so I will be playing 20-hour days, trust me. So the tension will be high, which means that people are more apt to get upset a lot faster when they're cranky. So just don't be mean. Like, there's no reason to do fake spoilers. It makes the tension even more tense when people do that. So even if you say ha ha ha, Jay kidding right after, it's really not a joke to some people, and it's just one of those things that, like, just it's just poking a bubble that's gonna pop, basically. I do feel, though, like, as I recap all of the spoiler policy, that this is going to be the best launch we've ever had together. We've had some very interesting personalities in our FC before who just like to watch the world burn, and we don't have any of those right now. So I think that's going to be a huge win for us this time around. And so let's just all enjoy this game together, respect each other, and just protecting the player experience as we go through all this stuff. And just know that we are doing our best as an FC to give you the tools that you need to still talk freely about these things, and not feel like you can't talk about them. You totally can. Just make sure that you talk about them in the correct channels, aka Discord, or send a tell to somebody who is at the same spot in the story as you. There's been so many times where I have sent a tell, like, oh my god, did you just see that? Like, my brain is, like, blown. My mind is blown right now. Like, what the hell? Okay, so I just vomited a lot of information on the spoiler stuff. So is there any questions everybody has about the spoiler policy, or any examples you want clarified? Because today's a great time for us to do it. I wish I could play with Trust for the first time, Alor, because Trusts will tell you the mechanics of the dungeon, and I don't like seeing them until I figure them out myself.
Well, I don't know if you can explain this, but we have new people here, and for example, I mean, the rules are the same, apply the same. Like, if you notice certain behavior that it's too recurrent from a new member or a member of Waltz, that it's kind of like look troublesome or something, report to the AMPs or the leaders and stuff like that.
Yep. We ask that everybody reads our charter before they join our FC, because we want everybody to know what our FC is about and what they're getting themselves into. And so occasionally, and that is not me being negative, because most of our FC, like, currently is really good. Some people do come in that can be negative. Just bring it up to an officer, like Ario said. If you see somebody that is intentionally doing things maliciously, aka spoilers, etc., that is Starry Guy, what a scrub. Yeah, so anybody have any other questions about the spoiler policy? It's a type channel, Nina. There's actually a new thread that we created under the spoiler section in Discord. It's a thread, and it breaks down level 90 to 91, level 91 to 92. It basically is 10 different threads where you can talk about the MSQ in that level range. You might need to go down your channel list.
I shared a link for it in the general chat.
Perfect. So Nina, Astra just shared it in general chat, like the link to the thread. Yeah, but like I said, we're trying our best to give you guys all the resources to keep speaking freely, be happy about the game, be excited, share your thoughts, everything. Just remember to be courteous and respect your fellow FC member, as they are also progging through this new content at the same time, and likely don't want things to be spoiled. So, okay. Any other questions, guys? Yeah, so like Punch mentioned, you will have to opt into the spoilers role in Discord to see these channels. Alright, so I think that's a big 30-minute chat on the spoiler policy, so I think we can move on comfortably now. So let's just talk. The next few points are basically about the last, just kind of a recap over the last few months and what we can expect in the next few months, and things to be wary of going into the expansion as far as from an FC perspective is. So I'm not sure if you guys remember, but for the first week of June, June 1st to 7th, I made myself available every night at 10 p.m. Eastern until about 12:30, 1 a.m. Either in the leadership channel in Discord or just via DM or tell. Basically, before every town hall, I like to have one-on-ones with people who are interested, just to kind of get feedback on how you guys think we are doing as an FC, how the leadership team is doing, and just how, as in general, as an FC, how we're doing. And I had I would say about 20 people in the course of those 7 days send me either DMs or tells, or chat with me in voice and share what they thought of the FC. And I think this is the first time in any of my one-on-ones where everything has been overwhelmingly positive. And I shared this with the leadership team last week at our meeting, is that, previously we've had people talk to us about how the leaders are not very visible. They don't know who our FC leaders are. We've had people talk to us about how, sometimes people don't help when they ask for help in FC chat. Like we've heard some of these things in the past, but this time there was nothing. It was all overwhelmingly positive about how the moment somebody asks for help in FC chat, there's like 10 people who jump on it. Everybody's been happy. Things have been positive, and our leadership team is quite visible and active. So if you guys, so none of that feedback was there. So that was a huge win for me. But feedback is always open and welcome. There's an anonymous feedback place that you can get to on the Waltz website where you can just send in anonymous feedback. It comes to me directly, not to the leadership team. And you can submit it anonymously too. You don't have to put any personal information. So if you do have any feedback about the FC or us in general, keep on sharing it. But that was really good news for me to hear. How did you guys feel about the party last night? For those that did attend.
Party was a blast. Had lots of fun.
What was some of your favorite parts of the party, if anybody wants to share?
My profile picture right now. Sketch.
Oh, is that your
Sketches
sketch?
were really nice touch. Yeah. And it was really nice to have those kind of things, because a lot of people who play the game or is new to the game see people with their own personalized art of their characters, and sometimes it's like, oh well, they think that it's like hard to reach something like that or get something like that, and that you could like just get in line and have it at least as a little sketch for free. It meant a lot.
Some people said Space Club, Scary Story with Kellen. Vincenzo said running in circles for money. L'Oreal Music Color game, always lose. All the activities, love the artist, clubs were good. Meet people in the FC. Fishing was a good call out from Nona. Forging Club, talent show, DJ stream, great. Yep, Brock is always amazing with the DJing. Yes, okay.
May I say something?
We had musical tiles. Yep, it was the Phys Ed Club, by the way. Go ahead, Kellen.
I just want to say it was a dream come true seeing a culture festival or a school festival come to life in game. I didn't think that we'd be able to actually do it as well as we did at first, but due to everyone's efforts, we made it happen. It was amazing, it was memorable, and I actually told all my Japanese coworkers, hey, we did a culture festival in our online game. It was so cool. So it was very special in particular for me. Thank you, everyone.
Admiral like being a bard. Venny practiced playing the game in ways that been able to restaurant RP, song, dance, performant. Nice.
The group performance, I saw them the day before practicing, and I was so amazed, and see them like in full action was even more amazing. She did a great job helping them.
She's our band manager.
So any books with she?
I'll have to pass some information to her. You can get some bookies. If you all would like some bookies with some Bardies, please reach out to she. She's a wonderful person to work with for a lot of different things. Amazing.
Nice. Well, one thing I forgot to mention too when I was talking about leadership visibility and just making things more accessible is just to kind of fall back on more work that Astron has been doing in the Discord. So I'm not sure if you all noticed the new About Us section under the Waltz group at the top of the Discord. If you click on the About Us section now, it gives a brief history of our FC, but at the bottom are fancy new drop-down menus that allow you to learn about the leadership team and who are the current FC leaders, our company action rotation or our buff schedule for like our FC buffs, what our mana point raffle and lotteries are, and our Good Samaritans. So these are all breakdowns. So all the times that I hear, how does the lottery work in FC chat? I know that Rin has a macro for it now, and there's joke or how people don't know about the Good Samaritan Award and Winter has his macros. You can now actually drop down here and click on those things, and it gives you a brief rundown of what those things are. Now it also has a section for the history of Waltz as well. So if you click on leadership team, for example, it'll bring up all of the current FC leaders in the FC and all of the amps. And Astrid is going to be keeping this updated in the background as well. So if you ever have a question on, who can I reach out to with this concern, or who can I reach out to with this issue, you can literally just hit this drop down, and anybody in this list you can reach out to with an issue, and it will get to the right person as needed. So
sorry, can you say that where is that located at on Discord?
At the very top now, under the Waltz heading, where the announcements typically are, that whole section, at the very bottom now is an About Us section. If you click on that channel, at the bottom of the channel is a drop down that says learn more about our ... It also has links to our website, our Discord, our merch shop, and our Lodestone. is all there as well. But if you use the drop down, you can actually look at the buff schedule for FC buffs. You can look at who is an FC leader. You can look at the history of Waltz too. So you're like, hey, I want to learn more about how Waltz became an FC. And then a brief couple paragraphs will appear telling you about the history of Waltz.
Nope. Maybe also a section of interpreters, because we're having a lot of Waltz that English is not their first language, so it would be nice to, like, if you're really struggling, like, reach this FC member in case you need help in your own language.
Actually, you know what? That's a great idea. So you know what? I'm going to talk to Astrid. If you guys know multiple languages, and you want to let us know which languages you know and you're comfortable speaking to people in, sometimes there's a new FC member might join from a part of the world where English is not their first language, and they want, they may not feel comfortable speaking in chat. But if you speak to them privately, maybe it'll help them warm up a little bit. So let's. I'm going to take that back, and we'll talk about it and probably get that put in there as well. Klingon does count as a language. It sure does. Okay. So the last 6 months, we shared what we liked about our party last night. I shared what we talked about at my one-on-ones and the feedback that I got from just regular members. Even part of our leadership meetings that we have, we do a round table vote on how we think our FC's health is out of a scale of 1 to 10. And we all share our reasons why we think it's higher, lower, whatever it might be. And there's been, every time we've had a leadership meeting, it's been interesting to see what our average rating is from a leadership perspective. And so I'm going to pose this question to all of you guys and see how you guys feel we're doing as an FC. So our average rating from an FC leader perspective on how we are doing as an FC in this game was a 8.7 out of 10. Do you guys feel that is accurate for how you're all feeling? Please share in Say Chat. Some of the reasons that brought us that didn't bring us to a 10 was that it's a content lull right now. Things can feel a bit quiet at times. And then one of our FC leaders said no one can ever get a perfect 10 because there's always room for improvement. So that's why we collectively, the average rating from all FC leaders was an 8.7. How do you guys feel?
Maybe 8.8 instead of 8.7.
So from what I'm seeing in Say Chat, it does look like everybody's sharing their thoughts, and it looks like we're all... if there was a disconnect between the leadership team and the FC members, I would be very concerned as the FC leader. But yeah, it seems like all of you guys are feeling the same as us, so the shows me perfectly that there's a good connection between what our observations are and what you guys feel as a membership. So for those that Rando, if you're comfortable sharing, I'm curious to see what would bring it to a 10 for you. If you're not comfortable sharing it publicly, just you can just say.
I really don't have anything that really needs to change. It's more, I just wish I could do more, be more involved than my schedule permits.
Oh, I see. So it's a personal perspective. Yeah. Okay.
No, I think this is wonderful. Probably one of the nicest FCs I've been in.
Oh, that's great to hear.
Everyone does well.
Perfect. So yeah, it looks like we're all on the same page. I love that. So when we talk about how you all are feeling, but let's talk about how we're doing as an FC in the grand scope of Final Fantasy XIV. Those that know me know that this does not matter to me in the slightest. It's just really interesting to know just kind of how we're doing as an FC. So give me 1 second to find my stats. Gotta scroll up. Okay, so just some overall stats. After we tightened the inactivity policies, just want to share with you guys kind of how our FC is looking from an activity perspective. So in-house, 94.2% of our FC has been online in the last 20 days. 89.1% of our FC has been online in the last 10 days. And then 81.2% has been online in the last 5 days. And so that leaves 4.9% that said that they're on a break and they're going to come back. So that just tells you just how active we are. I don't think I've ever seen or heard of, especially for the first two FCs that I was in, especially, like it was never this high as far as people online. And then when you look at that, how that translates in the grand scheme of like Final Fantasy, I joke that we are the best FC in the game, mostly because I'm biased, but I do feel that we are. But if you look at just overall standings on how we are against other FCs in the game, so currently our FC is number 1 on Genova, and it has been number 1, I think, since before December. We're always in the top 3. We're usually fighting for the first space with the FC COT, or Crown of Thorns, I think it is. So the fact that we're still number 1 and we're not even trying to be number 1, that's a really good reason for us to be proud. It's number 1 by numbers, and that, like Helen said, is primarily on participation of members. So people who might be new to the game, I'm just going to explain how rankings work. I really don't care about rankings. My number 1 concern is that you guys are happy and this is a comfortable place for you. But it's a nice to see that people who are happy and active in the game, it's naturally translating to ranking us against other FCs, basically, in the big scheme of things. So any activity that you do in game has a point value associated with it. So if you craft an item, the game allots a point for that craft being completed, and those points are translated in the forms of FC points. So right now, if you look at our FC menu, we have 483 million FC points, and so things that you do in the game, since you're part of an FC, the game will give you a point value for that activity. Things like doing dungeons, completing dungeons, getting achievements, leveling up, all these things have point values associated with them. Some have higher point values than the other. But the biggest thing is that when multiple people do the same activity together, those point values get multiplied much higher than if you were doing those things solo. So the amount of times that you do things together, when you do a dungeon together, I'm just going to give like random numbers here that aren't really true, but just for the sake of understanding. Let's say you do a dungeon by yourself, and that dungeon is worth 200 points. If you do it with an FC member, it gets multiplied by 2. And then if you do it with 3 FC members, so 3 of you do that dungeon, it's 200 times 2 times 2 again. So it basically doubles in point value every time you add a new FC member. So when we have 8 people doing a trial together, it's point times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 8 times. And so that's how the point system works. So this just shows you that we do a lot of things together, and that is why our ranking shows us against other things. Things that give us the most point value aside from doing things together would be leveling up, getting achievements, and turning in items to your grand company, like old dungeon gear. So these are things that really net a lot of point value. But I think for RFC specifically, it is the togetherness that makes us go higher and higher as far as the point system is concerned. Like last week, for example, we collectively as an FC made just shy of 3 million points together. and the next FC behind us was only 2 million. So we were 1 million points ahead of the next FC. And then looking at it from a data center perspective, we are at number 11 out of every other FC on all of Aether. And that is a huge accomplishment considering there's probably close to 500 FCs. Some FCs have 2 people, some FCs have 512 like us, but just be proud of yourselves and keep on doing things together. When we get into Dawn Trail, ask an FC chat if anybody's at the same dungeon as you. Keep it up, because not only is it building our community, but it just shines our FC as literally being number 1 instead of just me being biased that we're number 1. So so I just wanted to add on that. You will only ever hear me talk about this at the town hall because I really don't care about it, but it's just a nice little thing to know about how we stand against the rest of the community, the rest of the game. Anything anybody wants to add to that?
Can I say something?
Yeah, Nina.
So like, I love RFC, okay? Like, I've been here for like, I think also since like 2019 or something like that. And, I go at my own pace, and I forget a lot of things in the story. And never once have I been talked down to because like, hey, why don't you catch up and stuff like that? That's not my jam. It's everybody's jam has a different jelly, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, we are going at our same pace, but we're all here to support each other. And so like my FC, when I'm gonna do a new dungeon, my FC runs are like my safe space. I know I'm never gonna get yelled at. I never have. I've never got talked down to, nothing like that. And I just love it, because it's just like, at the end of the day, I just want to have fun and chill, and that's like, I think that's everybody's attitude towards it. And so I just want to thank you and the founding members and everybody who takes it upon themselves to like make sure that this is like a fun PG environment so we can all be safe. So like, yeah, I can't imagine leaving this for another FC. Like, who cares about it? I don't want to jump to the guy who's first place like FC if they're gonna be like all bickering and like, hey, you're not holding up your end of the rating photo. Like, dude, like, I just like to chill in the FC yard sometimes, like whatever's clever. And I love when it's quiet and there's not a lot of chat, and I love it when it's bumping and we're all talking to them, and I love it when we're all on a pun train.
Love that. All right, Nina, you are the king of puns, my friend, so keep them coming. So that was good. Just a quick recap on the last few months and our standings in the game, but also talk about now what to expect for the next month or so as the expansion launches. So we did go over the spoiler policy, but from an FC perspective, all of our hosts that run FC events also want to enjoy Dawn Trail, so we will be taking a break from large-scale FC events for the month of July. There will be a total FC event blackout until July 7th, from early access start until July 7th, meaning no lottery, no map nights, no mount farms, general stuff like that. It's just all going to be on pause for that week. So please don't send me your lottery tickets until I say it's back up and running. Until, though, there will still be last night's lottery is rescheduled until tomorrow night. So last night's Powerball will be tomorrow, and then we're going to keep on doing our lotteries until the final lottery will be the Monday before the Dawn Trail launch, which is the 24th. And then also one other major thing to set your calendars for is our pre-expansion photo. Every expansion since we've been in FC, we have all gone somewhere in the game and just got a large expansion photo. The first one we had only had like 10 people in it, but then it's gotten bigger and bigger since then, to the point where our pre-Endwalker photo needed to be 3 different pictures because not everybody could render in one picture. So please make sure that you set that date. It's a really nice tradition for all of us to get together to take that shot. So again, just remember there'll be a total event blackout from June 28th until July 7th. After that, we will likely start resuming things at a slow pace, and then in August we should have our full schedule back up and running, including Waltz University, which will be all of our teachers will come back to teach the jobs to new players and people who just want to pick up new stuff. But just remember, it'll be a little bit quiet in July while we all experience the expansion. And then my raiding class is also next Saturday, so if you are new to the game and you want to raid, come to this class. I will teach you everything you need to know about raiding, except how to get good. I'm just kidding. Everybody has to learn the job on their own. But yep, that's just what to expect for the next few months. Things should go back to normal in August, though, once we've all kind of just enjoyed the content. So, as a reminder, we have early access on June 28th. Servers usually go live around 5 or 6 a.m. Eastern. The official launch is July 2nd, but early access, for those that this is your first expansion, if you pre-ordered and you've put in your pre-order code, the pre-order code only grants you early access. During early access, you will get a second registration code that you will need to register before the Tuesday. Otherwise, you will not be able to continue in the expansion. You'll have to put the actual Dawn Trail registration code in. So it's 2 steps. 1 is your early access code, and 2 is your actual game code, which you will get. It's stupid. Other expectations, and I'm only going to say this because Winter just said it's awful, is queue time. Expect 2,000 plus player queues where you'll have to set aside 10 to 15 minutes or even longer sometimes. I'm hoping that with the changes Square has made to their servers, we're not going to have a lot of hiccups, but in Endwalker, disconnects were rampant. So remember how I mentioned that tension can be high the first few weeks? It's a combination of spoilers, but also logins are also stressful sometimes because you have to sit in a queue and then sometimes you get disconnected. So let's hope they fixed all that. But just remember, be patient. It is a massive launch, and there's 30 million players, I think. So those that played Stormblood, remember Robon Extreme, because I sure do. All right, so then we're almost wrapped up. A couple of last points to cover is, I'll just add to what Des said there as well, is that at some point during the maintenance, the 48-hour maintenance, you will be able to download the game. It is 90 gigabytes, they said, including the base game. So make sure you have ample time to download it. And you will definitely see in Discord when it's downloadable, because everybody's very vocal about it. So you'll be able to start downloading it as soon as you see in Discord from other FC members that it's ready. And okay, so last couple points to mention. Just to remind everybody that we do have an open door policy as well. So please, if you have any feedback ever about anything, or even if you just want to chat, send us a message, or send me a message is fine. I did see Kellen mention earlier about some points about being a Waltz leader. Being a Waltz leader is not really a reward. It's mostly we want people. We will reach out to you, or you can come to us if you are interested in being a Waltz leader. Let us know you're interested. What we're looking for is creativity, innovation, and things that bring people together. So if you're a person who's always, a go-to person for other FC members, maybe you're already naturally a leader and you want to be a leader, just reach out to us. Let us know you're interested, because there's no limit to how many people we want on our leadership team. We want people who are innovative, people who are creative, and people who like to bring other people together. That's the 3 main points that we look for. And then the last point, it kind of falls in line with this, is we added this topic because we noticed it a couple times in the last few weeks where so it's limiting the spread of misinformation. And I want to call out a couple of FC members that I've noticed correcting misinformation, and they've done it politely, and I'm very happy. Rin isn't here, so Rin, I know you're not here, but thank you very much. You are very compassionate when you are correcting somebody saying the wrong information. But what I mean by that is if you see misinformation being spread, it is okay to politely correct that person. Maybe they just don't know. But from a leadership perspective, we are also looking, because we don't want people to be given the wrong information about the game. Like if I ever saw somebody say, "Oh, to be a good black mage, you just gotta spam Fire 3," I would expect people who play black mage to actually intervene and be like, "Actually, you know, it's not really how you play. You don't play the game. You don't play black mage. Let me give you a couple of tips." I know there was other FC leaders that had points about misinformation. So did you guys want to pipe in if you have it, or if I didn't miss it, it's fine. Ice Mage Winter said, "Yep, I've seen that too."
The big thing with misinformation is just, be nice about it. It's very easy to get argumentative really quickly, especially if people dig in. If you realize things are getting tense and you're doing that, again, feel free to reach out and get some help. But it is important, especially as we go to teach people and help people along, that they're getting good information. So.
Yeah, but so Alor, to add to your point there is a line between opinion and misinformation. We're talking about concrete things in the game that, like, we're not talking about anything other than game, like Final Fantasy 14 related stuff. So I think that pretty much covers the little blurb I had about misinformation. So, all right. So the last bit of the town hall is just an open floor for discussion. If anybody has anything they want to bring up or ask questions about, this could be about anything covered tonight or anything not covered tonight. Please feel free to add any points you have if you want. Yes, Alor, go ahead. Well, we have amps and we have flares. They basically have the same responsibilities, except like it's hard to say, because when you start having additional roles, you start to create more division, I think, and we're trying to avoid that. It sounds like the amp role is a good role for what you're looking for, because the amps were created to be like, they were to amplify the player experience. That's the play on words that we were going for. Not only is it a black mage skill amplifier, but it's also like a play on words. We want amps to amplify the player experience, whether that's being an event host, or because if you look at what a leader is in Waltz on paper, that what you're saying right now is that's basically a person that brings people together. So if you're a person who's hosting an event, you're essentially bringing people together.
I think the other thing too is you don't have to be in leadership to do things like host an event. Like if you need help, or if you need, finding ways to get rewards out or putting things together, we can help do those things, right? And bring those to us, and you're welcome to lead them, right? And there's ways for us without, if you don't want to take on the whole mantle of leadership, we can go ahead and help you kind of get your event off the ground and give you that sort of like ability to promote your own event.
And like I said too, like in previous town halls, if you want to host an event, you will we will give you a budget if you want prizes. Like, we are not going to just say, oh, you have to pay for your own prizes. No. If you present a good event to the leadership team, we're like, hey, it's a very fair event, and you want to run it, we will sponsor the event for you. As much as I love Death Drop Dartboard and the Naked Foot Race and all these events that I created, my creativity only goes so far, and I'm always looking for fresh ideas. So functionally, it's something that we've debated in the past about having additional ranks like that, but we don't think it's necessary, really, especially when we have a completely open speaking point when it comes to, if you want to host an event, then just host one. You don't need to be a leader or have a different rank for that. All right, anybody? Go ahead, Arias.
amps for as long as I've been here and how I see it, it's flares and amps. It's usually you can consider them as like people who has been in Waltz a little bit longer, to the point that it has a better notion of how Waltz runs and what's the core of the FC, and like where East want this FC to become or work. So it's kind of like people who can help you navigate through Waltz, because they have a better grasp of how the FC works, more than being a leader, or that you have to respond to them or stuff like that, or that they have power. It's how I see it. And someone that you can kind of like rely on, so you don't feel like you're just in a sea of people.
So to add to you, what you mentioned, Alor, is that amps are basically Relish kind of touched on it. Amps and flares are the same, except flares are the ones that deal with escalations and incidents and have to do like the charter violations and all that stuff. So if you were interested in doing all the things that it takes to be a leader without the HR stuff, that would be the amp role, because amps don't have to deal with people problems. So yeah, if you're like, that's something that when we talk about when you want to be a leader and you have creative ideas, just come.
Sheesh! That shit look.
All right, so any last points in the open discussion that anybody wants to talk about? Oh, yes, thank you, Venny. I forgot to mention that. All right, so right now, as we are tightening up our inactivity policy, we are asking that as we get closer to cap, if you do have any alts in the FC that you're not playing regularly, or just alts in general, we're asking that you just remove them for now, and then in about a month, when things calm down a little bit, you'll be able to bring them back. But when we're at cap is when I'm saying we want to make sure that all the alts are out, just for now. But there are other FCs that we have that are run by, like for example, Coco has a second FC that that we put people's alts in when they need a home temporarily. So okay, I think this is getting close to wrapping up. Any last points before I hand it over to Noriko? Noriko has the final giveaway prize to announce, so yes, Winter, I like that. I'm gonna cheer because 10 years is a big accomplishment. All right, so to wrap up our 10 year anniversary giveaway, I did want to mention that as a result of the expansion launching, there will be no mana point raffle for June. We were doing a 10-day giveaway in lieu of the mana point raffle this month. Any participation in FC events in June are going to count towards the July end of month mana point raffle, but there will not be one in June. We'll just do one at the end of July and include all the attendance for this month as well. The last prize on the 10-year anniversary giveaway is a $100 shopping spree at the Waltz merch shop. So, Noriko, go ahead and you take over.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Railbot. Probably take another half a minute. But yeah, so we are just about to wrap up day 10, the whole entire giveaway for the 10th anniversary, and it blew up. Yeah, I think we're gonna restart the bot. I'd like to thank all of you that participated in the giveaway, because it's been a real joy to see people get real excited and leave their emotes every night. Yeah, I just want to throw it out to you guys. I mean, do you like this type of format for giveaways?
I do. I think it's awesome.
It gives everybody a fair chance to.
Yeah, as Alor said, it's definitely easy, and I think that's one of the main intents of the whole thing. It's just literally click a mouse and it goes.
I like that it
By
knows
the
that
way-
somebody has had multiple emotes and then it can just sort through. Go ahead, Kellen.
Oh, I'm sorry. If you have something that you as a Waltz member want to donate for an event prize, a giveaway, or even for a mana points raffle, you are welcome to do that as well. If it's something little, of course, you can just put it in tab 1 of the estate coffers. But if it's something bigger that you want to be for a donation, you're welcome to do that. I'm not saying you have to, but you know, you're welcome to do that too. Giveaways are fun for everybody.
I really wanted the handcrafted hat that she did, and I also wanted the hand-drawn character, and I was like, damn it, those are the only two that I react to. So I was like, nah, I'm gonna let the FC have these prizes, and then I reacted on those two and still lost.
Yeah, I did the same.
Alor, like, if it's generally we look for stuff that is semi-rare, like no Morbol seedlings, please. Like if you let's say you're doing Eureka Orthos, for example, and you got the crab mount, but you already had it. You're like, you know what? This might be a good prize, like stuff like that. Or, you know, when the new field operations zone comes out in Dawn Trail, the Bosja zone, whatever, we know it's the Bermuda Triangle theme now, but when that content comes out, if you get something in there rare, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to give this to the FC as a gift. Yep, that as well. Just know it should be something of moderate value, just nothing too non-rare.
Yeah, or sometimes if you're a retainer, if you send on the quick venture and they bring back some fancy-looking item, you can always check it up on the market board, see what it's selling for, and if it looks like it's selling for high enough, feel free to donate it.
All right, looks like we have a winner. So the winner of $100 shopping spree at the Waltz merch store is Indigo.
Oh, Indy!
Hey!
Hey.
Perfect. So, Indy, if you can just pick out the items you want, totaling up to $100 US, and then send it to me. And if you're comfortable sending me your address privately as well, I'll make sure you get them all. Time for more mugs. I love that. All right, so let's wrap this up then. So thank you for an amazing, amazing 10 years, everybody. I'm so proud to be the FC leader of Waltz, and I don't see myself doing anything else in this game except being here with you guys every day. So keep up the great work, and we will see you at the next town hall, or, you know, just the expansion. No, we'll see you at the pre-expansion photo, hopefully. That's the next big FC event we're doing. Have a great night, and thank you again. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.